Let's hope. I'm like, I could see somebody saying that, but not Chris Latendresse.
The Tuesday, June 14th, 2022 meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's a lot of energy and excitement in the audience tonight. The first two agenda items are something we've all, for varied reasons, been looking forward to. So appreciate that all of you are here tonight, and thank you. Just before we begin, just a brief opening comment about Open Podium. Open Podium is an opportunity for Eden Prairie residents to address the City Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government prior to each council meeting, which typically occur the first and third Tuesday of each month, but we're on a summer schedule now. Open podiums occur from 6:30 to 6:55 here in the council chamber. If you wish to speak at Open Podium, please contact the city manager's office at 952-949-8412 by noon of the meeting date with your name, your phone number, and the subject matter. Open Podium is not recorded or televised. If you have questions about Open Podium, please do contact the city manager's office. Mr. Gatcho, the first of a really exciting event this evening, so I'll let you have it from here.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, it's graduation week in Eden Prairie, isn't it? The graduations at the high school and graduations in the council chambers here tonight. We have a group of people here, 25 initially of which that signed up to attend an Eden Prairie City Government Academy, most of which are here tonight. We had a few people that couldn't make graduation. I'll make sure they get their diploma in the mail. These are people, Mayor and council members, and Mayor, you were there on opening night on April 20th, 4/20 as it came to be. On the first night of City Government Academy, for 6 consecutive weeks, we had this group of 25 people go department by department through our city and our city operations. And, you know, I'd like to say our staff is usually typically excited to have this academy for these 6 days to kind of show off what the city does and the operations of the city, and hopefully give a group of our residents somewhat of a behind the scenes look at how the city operates. And it is a commitment these people have made. They committed at least 20 hours to spending time with their city and their local government on 6 consecutive Wednesday evenings, April through May. And then that culminates in a graduation ceremony tonight. Before we get to the graduation ceremony, of which I will announce each and every name, it'll be in alphabetical order. The council members will come down to in front of the dais, and they will hand you your diploma, and then you can just come up and grab your diploma and sit down. I know a few people want to say a few words, participants after the graduation as well. But before we do that and come down and announce the names, I also want to thank a few different people. I want to thank Southwest Transit. They provide the bus free of charge to the city. We used that on at least 3 of the evenings, touring city parks, touring development sites, and going between public works facilities. And then Katie O'Connor. Katie was here every night. Katie basically helped run the program, connect all of these folks with where they had to be every week and what was happening and what the itinerary was. So thank you, Katie, for your assistance. So yeah, again, with that, there's going to be a picture, a graduation picture, and a reception following this. The council will continue with their meeting. But Mayor, if you don't mind, to have the council members come down in front of the podium, and then I can announce the names again in alphabetical order, and those folks can come up and receive their diploma. And you may want to add something as well.
I just want to say a word at this point that this is our 3rd class. Rick?
Yes, we had 2 classes pre-COVID, so this would be the 3rd. So it would be 2018, 19, and then this year.
And this academy not only really educates people from our community in the city, and it vests them in, more into the life of our community. But the city of Eden Prairie benefits because we have now 60 or more residents who possibly even in states of emergency could be of help to us, or at least they know infrastructure within the city, or they could help us. So we just really appreciate, from a council perspective, more and more people that we can have go through the Citizens Academy.
Mayor, that's a great point. I want to mention a few things. We've actually had a few members of previous academies actually join our fire department, sign up to be on city commissions. Later on this evening, I think this is on the consent agenda, you're approving our election judges for this year, and some of the people in this room, and I don't know if the academy did this or not for you, but some of you have signed up to be our election judges. So there's many different ways you can be involved in the CERT program, as you mentioned, and other organizations. So hopefully that continues to build community and engagement.
Excellent.
So, can we all go?
Everybody.
It's a privilege.
I think in the background too, you'll see. If you want to come here, we have a little bit of slideshow playing too from some of the activities that occurred during the event. So if you guys line up, and then if you guys come up this way.
Do we line up in alphabetical order?
You don't. No, you're okay. You're fine. You're fine. They did this 3 years ago, so sometimes people can forget. So again, our first graduate, first diploma is for Scott Adams. Let's give him a round of applause. Yeah, you're good. You can sit. Yep.
You can shake hands this month.
Our second graduate is Libby Burns. Our next graduate is Marilyn Corrigan. There she is. Then we've got the mother-son duo. We'll start with Judith Cowdery. And her husband, Dean, was in a class before, so he's taking some pictures. Dean was in previous class. Joseph Cowdery. Yeah, those are nice, aren't they? Yeah. We have two mayors in the room. We had a mayor for an evening on April 20th as well, Christy D. Pasquale. She was mayor. Huh? Jody Fensky. I think I saw Amy. Amy Frazzini. There she is. Amy came in. That's right.
Making sure we didn't do that.
Daniel Georgioff. Jan Getz.
You guys decide, I'll follow you. So.
Shayna Halverson. Jerry Johnson. Mike Kramarchek. Kathy Lau. Robert Loughton.
So the music's not someone's phone, right? It's coming from this video.
I think that's part of the slideshow, Mayor, right?
Yeah, you're wondering like we should go back and check.
Kind of elevator music. Mary McMiller. Farah Osman. I see Farah. I saw her. Thought I saw her. Maybe stepped out. Carolyn Perez. Michelle Swenson. Donald Tate. And then I'm looking for, is Srini here? Okay, well, maybe I won't mail it to him if he didn't call ahead.
No.
But we did. We had a few graduates that couldn't make it. But Mayor, this is your City Government Academy class of 2021. And then I think there were a few people that wanted to say a few words about their experience. Maybe you could all come up at once and then maybe take turns saying a few words.
And maybe we should sit in the face so they
Sure.
can get on camera. Yep. Mayor, proceed.
Good evening. My name is Christy DiPasquale. On behalf of my fellow Academy participants, I would like to thank City Manager Rick Getcho, Katie O'Connor, all of the speakers who presented, and everyone who helped organize this year's City Government Academy. Thank you for taking the time out of your Wednesday evenings to share with us about the various departments in the city, engaging with us on different activities, and answering all of our questions. I look forward to City Government Academy each week. We started every session with a presentation from various knowledgeable speakers. Each speaker had the opportunity to share about their respective departments. They spoke highly of their colleagues and had pride in the work their department does for the city of Eden Prairie. After every session, I was excited to share with my family and friends about what I learned and what I received in the weekly swag bags. My favorite part about City Government Academy was how interactive it was. Not only did we listen to presentations, but we also went on tours and participated in interactive activities. I had a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to try on gear at the fire department and drive the snowplow. Because of City Government Academy, I am a more informed citizen and more engaged community member of Eden Prairie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and City Council members, I'm Marilyn Corrigan, and I would a lot of what I wanted to say she already captured, but I want to say that it was really educational. It's great to see the behind-the-scenes aspect of the government, but for me, the one probably really powerful theme was not only the knowledge of the people we met, but the excitement and the pride they had in the work that they do and in the organization they're a part of. And a lot of the work I do is with individuals and organizations. And so many organizations today are really struggling with trying to have a culture of engagement. And so it was so exciting to be able to see that Eden Prairie has that culture of engagement. And I know it has a lot to do with the commitment and the pride of the employees, but I also want to acknowledge the power of the strong leadership that we had a chance to see every week. So it was really a privilege to be a part of it.
Great. Thank you.
My name is Kathy Lau, and I'm a new resident of Eden Prairie as of this past summer. So, of course, I expected that a lot of what I would learn in the academy would be new to me, and it was. But what I thought was really interesting and a great reflection on the program was that many of my fellow academy members who are not new residents said week after week, wow, I didn't know that about Eden Prairie, and I've lived here a long time. So I thought that was a great reflection on the power of this academy, and a shout out, as the two previous speakers said, to the employees of Eden Prairie. They really went out of their way to make it a meaningful experience for us, and their passion for their job was obvious. I would also like to say that some of the departments that we didn't maybe think would be the most exciting turned out to be really interesting. Every single week, I think they went out of their way to not only share the information, but to do so in an interesting way. I think my friends and family that don't live in Eden Prairie are now very tired of hearing me talk about how great Eden Prairie is, but that's okay. I'm going to keep doing it. Thank you so much for your dedication to this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor, council members, my name is Robert Lawton. I signed up for this academy to learn about Eden Prairie and be more involved. I've lived in Eden Prairie for 17 years now. I know where the stores are. I pretty much know the road system. I've been to the parks and lakes and even volunteered for a little bit for the parks and recreation. But over the last 6 weeks, at the academy, I've come to understand the systems that keep Eden Prairie running as a city and as a department. There were some surprises along the way. I learned that I didn't know that we had a crime lab. I didn't realize we drank so much water, and I didn't realize I could drive a snowplow, which was pretty cool. Each department was enthusiastically explained, demonstrated, and helped to experience what they do for the city. Their genuine interest and happiness in their job has shown through and helped to explain why Eden Prairie is such a great place to live. I have come away with a renewed interest in the city and an enthusiasm to explore more and be more involved. Thank you for all the staff of Eden Prairie for taking the time to stage this amazing event. Thank you.
Thank you. Council, before we go to the next item on the agenda, does anybody want to share a word? I know that Councilmember Narayan does.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just one point that we believe very strongly is our employees. And when I heard from all of you that the reason the Eden Prairie runs so well because of our employees, so glad to see they're recognizing beyond us. We always say that, our employees are doing great job. That's the reason the city is running this well. But thank you for recognizing, and they do definitely need that recognition. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Are we good? So, graduates, thank you so much. You will go out, I'm sure, and make even more of a difference. We just appreciate that you took the time. As many of you thanked us for having this program, but we thank you for choosing to be part of it. So, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Getcho, the next item.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have a special proclamation and recognition this evening for a longtime executive director of the Community Foundation. So I could turn it back to you if you want to introduce the item.
Absolutely. I know a couple council members wanted to have the opportunities to share something in a moment. I will just say something before I read the proclamation that Mark Weber, you are an Eden Prairie institution. You've been here that long, you have earned that. So, and I think that's a very good thing. It's there's some age and time associated with that, but you certainly have given of your time and your life to service. Your life and your life's work has made a difference in the life of this community. So, on behalf of the people of Eden Prairie, thank you. Thank you. And I want to read the proclamation now, and then we'll give an opportunity if any of you would like to share in this or say something. And Mark, I'll come down in a little bit, and I'm sure there's pictures and handshakes. Proclamation, City of Eden Prairie, Hennepin County, Minnesota. Whereas Mark Weber began his many years of service to the community in 1979 as a reporter for the Eden Prairie News, and whereas over the next 22 years, Mark covered local stories and became a fixture within the community. And whereas Mark joined the Eden Prairie Community Foundation in 2013 as its first full-time executive director, and whereas during Mark's tenure as executive director, he guided the organization through years of record growth and expanded impact to the community. And whereas Mark is known as a trusted leader who excels at bringing people together to solve a problem or to address a need, and whereas Mark's leadership has helped the foundation support and address so many people and organizations in our community, and whereas Mark has grown the organization to a place that positions the foundation for a successful future, and whereas the citizens of Eden Prairie have been positively impacted by Mark's leadership, thoughtfulness, and incredible work ethic, and whereas after more than 8 years as the executive director for the Eden Prairie Community Foundation, Mark has decided to retire. And whereas Mark's last day of employment with the foundation will be in June, and a celebration in his honor is taking place, I believe, a week from today on June 21st, Tuesday. And now, therefore, I, Ron Case, Mayor of Eden Prairie, Minnesota, do hereby proclaim June 21st, you have to wait, 2022 as Mark Weber Day in Eden Prairie. Council, why don't we all go down and just, I think, shake a few hands, maybe take a picture or something. That's anyone else who wanted, any foundation board members who wanted to be in, I think that would be appropriate. And family. You want to hold it with me or something, or maybe, yeah, I think that's probably best. I would hold. All right, slide in here, everyone. Get in close.
One, two, three. Do another one. You want another line? This side?
Yeah, we're older, yeah.
All right. Well, Jay, you should get the picture.
I will be there next Tuesday.
Let's take one with Jay.
I get Jay in there.
Jay's on the foundation.
Oh, yeah, we got to get Jay in there too.
Yeah.
So sorry, we got to do that.
for sure.
He's a big deal today.
Stop.
All right, any handshake? I've already shaken his hand. Any handshakes there? And thank you so much. Keep it on.
Those guys can help.
You've got the mic.
Yeah, if I might, thank you. This is very nice, much appreciated, and it's special to have it happen before board members, with board members in back of me, with a board member to the side of me. I'm surrounded by board members. That's a good place to be. Sort of typifies my 8.5 years. I was surrounded by really good people. And I would just say that if I accomplished anything over the last 43 years, and it's a big if, it's only because there were a lot of generous people in the community who wanted to give back to Eden Prairie, and they trusted the Eden Prairie Community Foundation to make it happen. And before that, people who wanted to be informed and engaged because they were invested in Eden Prairie. And so they read things that I wrote. And these two groups sort of carried me these last 43 years. They really carried me over my time here. And then lastly, thank you to you and those who preceded you for making the really hard decisions in Eden Prairie. So thank you for that, and thank you for this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. If the council wants to say anything, we'll go down the line. You don't have to, but Councilmember Toomey?
Sure. First of all, obviously, thank you for your commitment to the city of Eden Prairie, not only through the foundation, but your work on the Eden Prairie newspaper for many, many years. I have been involved with the nonprofit world for a long time in Eden Prairie, and I've seen how you've worked with how you've taken the foundation to a whole nother level, and you have made such an impact. I know you can't see, where your grants go and what they do, and I'm sure you know, but you have made such an impact on the members of our community that are in need and the organizations that serve them. So we are so very fortunate to have had you. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you around.
Anything?
Yep. Well, Mark, thank you for all your service. And I've been working with you close to 10 years, I think, and in a lot of different capacity, the board member and being chair twice. And the thing I remember, a couple of things about you, Mark, it's amazing. I don't know, that's the way you are. You're always so calm. And I don't know how you do that. I never seen you, maybe one or two times that get a little bit stressed out, but normally you're so calm and so stressful in situations. That's a talent. The other thing is, I just want to say about you is people respect you. People, when they think about Eden Prairie Community Foundation, they think about Mark Weber. They don't think about anybody else. They don't know about the board member. They don't know who who the chair is, but they know Mark Weber. And it's an honor to get that level of recognition in our community. And that because of, I think, your personality, the way you work with 85 nonprofit organization, 87 something we have. And then you took the organization from, 200 something thousand to million plus in asset. And we, Eden Prairie Foundation, we donate grant around $300 to, let's say, $400,000 every year to our community. All that happened is you. So I just want to say it was a pleasure working with you. I'm sad you're leaving, but I'm glad you're leaving as well. Congratulations. Have a great next phase of your journey. Last thing. Just want to tell you a couple of things about you also, that you started a lot of other nonprofit organizations in Eden Prairie. That's another thing, especially the local news. You're the first one thought of the idea, or I think Pastor Rod was there too. I don't know, a couple of other people, and we had the first meeting on that. It started. So you've done so many good things for our community, and I think your name and won't forget it for a very, very long time. Thank you, all your services.
I already said some words, but go ahead,
Thank you,
Councilmember
Mayor.
Freiberg.
Well, I've had the pleasure of knowing you, Mark, for close to 10 years, as PG said, about the same time on it. And I hold you in the highest respect. One thing I've never figured out about you is how you can have that position as long as you've had with the passion that you still have. I have the pleasure of sitting on the board with you on the Eden Prairie Community Foundation, and just watching you, conduct yourself over those years with that passion, and that's something you can't fake. I know it's heartfelt, and you cast an awful big shadow. There's no doubt about it. You're a wonderful guy. I'm glad, if I'm understanding right, that you're still going to be, living in Eden Prairie. Because I hope to see you, in the community, ongoing. think I know you well enough to believe that that's going to happen on it. And I wish you the absolute best. Thank you.
I guess I'll just end with, you did good. And you can go into your future looking back knowing just how admired and how much of a difference you made. So thank you. All right. All right. Mr. Getchell, I think we're down to a donation.
We are. I will turn this over to Mr. Lothhammer.
Your Honor, council members, this is a donation from Benedictine Senior Living in Shakopee towards the Senior Center Garden Party. So as one of those many donations and gifts we receive, especially towards the Senior Center, this will help in offsetting the cost, making it even more affordable and a higher quality program specific to the Garden Party. So we want to thank them and appreciate their gift.
All right. Council, any further comment or question? If not, make a motion.
I'll move to adopt the resolution accepting the donation in the amount of $250 from Benedictine Senior Living in Shakopee to the Senior Center Garden Party.
I second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. And just we always say this when these donations come in, that they do matter, they make a difference. This is especially, I think, pretty cool that it's coming from another city that benefits at least people maybe from Shakopee, but they benefit from our senior center. So that's really, really validating. All right, we are down to the approval of the agenda and other items of business. I do have a couple small council member report items. Does anybody else have anything to add to the agenda? So mine would be under, let me get to it. 14A. If not, then is there a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of my two comments?
I move to approve the agenda with the additional 2 items.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. All right. Council workshop and meeting minutes. Anything at either meeting that you wish to edit, ask a question about, change, anything? If not, is there a motion to approve them both?
I'll move to approve the following city council minutes for the council workshop held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022, and the city council meeting held on Tuesday, May 17th, 2022.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right. Moving down to the consent calendar. Are there any items you'd like to learn more about, possibly even pull, or if it's okay, go ahead and make the motion. Go
I
ahead.
move to approve of item A to R on the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right, we are down to our first and only public hearing. It's fairly routine and perfunctory, if I believe. So go ahead, Mr. Getchell.
It is, Mayor and Council, thank you. As you know, when many of our development projects come through, we need to come back and vacate drainage and utility easements, almost each and every time based on a new plat and a new project. And in some cases, we'll come back and facilitate new easements. But in this case, this is the Crosstown Core industrial project in the Golden Triangle you may remember approving in the past. And this is simply a public hearing that needs to be held and just adopting a resolution vacating drainage and utility easements that are no longer needed for what would be the new project.
Okay, Council, any questions, comments? If not, this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the Council on this vacation of drainage and utility easement issue? Seeing none, Council, would you go ahead and close the public hearing and also make the motion?
Move to close the public hearing and adopt the resolution vacating drainage and utility assessment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, opposed. All right. You're making all the motions tonight. You're making up for your time being away.
I'm looking at Mark, and he's not.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, payment of claims. Are there any items under payment of claim, any expenditures, bills paid that you'd like to learn more about? If not, is there a motion to approve the payment of claims? You may make it if you wish. It's fine.
I'll make it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'll move for approval of payment of claims as submitted.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan,
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey,
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right. We are down to students on commissions, Mr. Getcho, and then I guess I propose that each of there's 5 of us, so we'll figure that out. But each of us will take one of the commissions. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We're pretty proud of a program we have that involves students in Eden Prairie. Actually, I should say residents of Eden Prairie. They don't necessarily even have to be in an Eden Prairie school, but the majority of them are associated with the Eden Prairie School District, but there are students in other schools as well. But we have an active student on commission program for 5 of our commissions where the students are involved members of that commission. And it's getting to be even more popular every year, which I think is a great thing for our community and for the youth in our community. We had more than 50 applications this past year. And I know, Mayor, you've maybe talked to other mayors. I've talked to other city managers where they ask, how can you build, that excitement to get students to apply. Many cities are getting 5, 10, 15 students to apply. And I mean, my advice typically is involve them in the work of the commission, involve them even though they're not voting members per se, but many of these commissions don't often vote. Involve them in the work of the commission. I think all of our liaisons and our other commission members do a good job of including all these students, and maybe the word passes through that this is an interesting program. But as you know, with 50 applications, even by putting up to 7 students on each commission, we don't have room for everybody. So we do provide a preference for incoming seniors. So if you are a junior, incoming junior, and you applied and you didn't get placed, please apply again, and we'll reach out to those people. But like you mentioned, Mayor, there's a long list of names to read, and these would be the appointments that you would be making for the students. They applied before school ended, and then now we're on summer break, and then there'll be an orientation session in August. We will then reach out to the students for their orientation, and then their first meeting will be in the fall, in September, and it'll run through the school year. So this will be for from fall of 22 through spring of 23. So with that, there's a list of names here on your annotated agenda, and you can certainly make those appointments.
Before we make the motion, Council, any comments, questions? If not, Councilmember Toomey, why don't you just start and you'll do 2 of them if that's okay. We'll just cycle back around.
Okay. I move to appoint to the Flying Cloud Airport Advisory Commission I apologize in advance for my pronunciation. Adi Bashvar, Luke Brown, Julie Fang, Atia Kershagar, Landon McDowell, Darren Tanubrata, and Anirudh Vandervu.
Councilmember?
Sorry. Appoint to Heritage Preservation Commission, Avik Garg, Sophie Landa, Mary Margaret Mellon, Ilhan Mohammed, Josh Parekh, Sweda Said, Siri Tangadi.
And appoint to the Human Rights and Diversity Commission, Mantaz C.C. Morgan Cook, Ayan Ibrahim, Hina Kazama, Taslim Olad, Ananya Sagi, and Sadishka Atala.
I point to the Parks, Recreation, and Natural Resource Commission, Pradna Dingman, Patrick Landwer, Ko Down, Marissa Peterson, Dane Bolts, Ellie Wananabe, and Emma Leah Zarin.
And I appoint to the Sustainability Commission Tanvi Boulay, Mia Kane, Palak Demon, Maura Fitzgerald, Tyler Little, Taylor Oliver, and Sushita Sa.
All right, is there someone to second all those motions in one?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed. All right, welcome to the students. Appreciate you very much spending your time with us. I hope it's meaningful to all of you. All right, I want to make this as brief as possible, just a couple items. One is just a report from a conference that I attended back in the beginning of June in Reno, Nevada. It was the United States Conference of Mayors. For I don't know how much all of you as council members know about this group, but it's the all mayors across the United States of America, from cities 30,000 and larger, and there's 1,400 potential. That's 1,400 cities that are 30,000 or greater across the United States of America. And of that, they get about 500 that are members and maybe 230 to 250 that attend these conferences. We're told each time that we attend that it's the largest gathering of mayors in the world each year when we get together. Because it's one could argue that mayors, but also city councils, run these cities that have so much impact on people's regular daily lives, closer to the people, clearly than sometimes the legislature and Congress, which obviously does important things. But because of that, back in January, President Biden came to speak. The 2 years before that, the group went to visit the White House with President Trump, former President Trump. And then this last 2 weeks ago, Vice President Kamala Harris came out to speak. And then cabinet members, and I was in a small workshop with the Surgeon General of the United States of America. It's just the topics are so relevant to what even though we're a smaller city, we are part of a regional area, right? And so homelessness may not directly impact Eden Prairie, but absolutely we are a player in that discussion because of the impacts on the 7-county metro area. So I just wanted to, I have notes I'm not going to read. I just had I wanted to read off a couple of the sessions that I attended. There's usually 3 or 4 options. That's it, because there's only 230 people. The mayors sit around the center of a large, rectangular table grouping, and then all the staff, and then various vendors, various other people sit around the outside, and then all the mayors talk, amongst themselves. Usually there's 2 or 3, often large city mayors that are leading these conversations. So I went to a session on the electrification of the United States transportation system, facilitated by Stephen Adler, who's the mayor of Austin. It was really powerful, and I think as much as we all, if you read on your phone like I am, that there's all kinds of issues with going all electric in this country, all kinds of issues, grid problems, battery problems, there's all kinds of issues. The takeaway from this session for me is that we're going there. The United States of America is going there. So by 2035, will be 75% sales will be electric. By 2050, 95% of all vehicles on the road will be electric. So we are going there. We can solve all the other issues, and we have to. And they're big, but they're solvable. And this big, huge transportation, $1.2 trillion, is going a long ways towards building out an electrification charger network throughout the entire nation. It will do huge amounts, almost what the interstate highway system did back in the 50s. Second session I attended was the best, I attended about 10 or 12. The second one I'm going to highlight, Best Practice Forum to Support Small Businesses and Entrepreneurship, facilitated by our very own Mayor Elizabeth Kautz of Burnsville. There were 4 mayors from Minnesota at this conference, and Elizabeth is a 3-president of the United States Conference of Mayors. So she gets pretty top billing on the part of everyone in attendance. So again, I'm personally very interested in the entrepreneurship role that we have to play as a council. And many of you know that when I went to the Kauffman Foundation entrepreneurship session or conference back in 2019, I brought back an idea that I met with Pat Mulqueeny, president of the chamber, and we connected with the school district and the Million Cups Entrepreneurship Program, and it's resulting in a space at the high school that now I think is looking more like fall of 2023 will be open, that will have entrepreneurship emphasis to students during the daytime and to the community in the evening. And we're going to, all 4 of our groups are partnering on that. Super exciting. A third session I attended was the how to treat disinformation and effective communication strategies around weather-related crises and also the recent mass shootings. So it's being prepared. Sadly, we had mayors that had experienced mass shootings within the last 4 years, and they shared. There was a similar session like this back in January, but these mayors shared what they did not know and they wish they knew prior to going through those mass shootings and how to be better prepared. So I'm bringing some of those ideas back and chatting again. We have a preparedness already. We're not not thinking about this. Our police force is amazing, and Rick Getchell has been deeply involved. But I learned a couple little pieces of ideas I think would be smart to be better prepared. And then I attended a homelessness is solvable session. It's called Learning from Communities That Are, quote, built for zero, and led by Francis Suarez, the mayor of Miami. And Miami, in essence, has brought, basically they're close to zero. They brought their homeless population in the region down from 10,000 to less than 500. And they've got, it's not magic and you will have homeless forever, but they have a process and a system. I would love to be part of possibly a regional bringing together. One of the things I learned from the conference is the mayor's number one power, if you want to say it that way, is convening. It's bringing people together. And so I would like to be part of, I've already talked to Jim Hovland, Mayor of Edina, about this, and we're meeting with Minnetonka Mayor, of meeting with Jacob Fry, and just, he doesn't know this yet, so if this is going out to the airwaves, Jacob, this is an idea I'm going to confront you with, but bringing a whole bunch of suburban mayors to the table with our urban inner city mayors and beginning to have that conversation, where can we help? Because if we don't help the core cities solve or begin to address their homelessness issue, it does come back to us. So I actually was rather excited about bringing some ideas back. And then one on a lighter note, I don't have the brochure anymore, but there was a group there, it's a nonprofit, they make no money off this, but they give this license or certification, I guess a certification to cities that are declared pet-friendly cities USA. And you have to meet certain criteria, and as they went through their criteria, we meet it all. So it's really just a bragging rights. I mean, Eden Prairie already, we build out our animal dog parks, we have pet-friendly trails, we treat our dogs and cats in terms of when they get arrested, we treat them well before they go to a pound, or I mean, we have pet-friendly processes and policies in place now. I would like to be declared, just like years and decades ago we were U.S. Tree City, USA. I'd like to be a pet-friendly city. So that I brought that back as well. So that's just a really brief report of my conference. The last idea really ties right into the pet issue, is that a resident contacted me, and you know her, all of you up here, and she's been concerned that 4 times in the last 2 weeks she's been in parking lots here in Eden Prairie where there's been dogs shut up in a hot car with closed windows. And she's called the police each time, and they've come, and 3 of the times the people got there really quickly and said, oh, I was just inside for a minute, and this resident said, no, I timed you. You were out for 16 minutes. So they don't realize what's happening. In one case, the police broke the window to get the dog out. So her thought was, can we have an ordinance? Well, I found out we do. Basically, it's a state statute. And it's vague, but it is enforceable to the extent that police could fine. So I just wanted to raise that to say that when a resident comes to us with a concern or issue, I think it's important, if it impacts maybe others, and I think this issue does, to make sure that they know that they're heard and that we raise that. That's all I've got. So anybody else, any council members? I know you would have probably changed it in the agenda, but anything else you want to say, or are we ready to?
I was not sure you're breathing. You just like.
I get a little bit probably too excited about this stuff.
Thank you for the update. That was good.
Yes, very good.
It was.
All right. Well, thank you so much. All right. With that, then we're ready for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn the city council meeting tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right. This meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Ron.